Welcome to Science Access. In today's class, we're going to be talking about types of chemical reaction. Remember in my first video on chemical reaction, I actually talked about introduction to chemical reaction. So the types actually include the combination reaction, decomposition reaction, combustion reaction, neutralization, single displacement, double displacement, and others. And I did mention the reason why atoms react. Atoms react with other atoms in order for them to be stable, in order to attain stability. So let's take the first type of chemical reaction, which is combination reaction. Now, combination reaction. Combination reaction is simple. It means an element A combined with an element B to form an element AB. An element A combined with an element B to form an element AB. Example, hydrogen can combine with oxygen to form H2O. Now, let me remove this, for example. Let me remove this because you will not easily get this, okay? Now, you will not get those things at the beginning. So, hydrogen reacts with oxygen to form water. Now, note that water is H2O. In chemical reaction, the number of atoms in the left-hand side must be equal to the number of atoms in the right-hand side. So, how many hydrogen do we have here? 2. We have 2 hydrogen here. How many oxygen do we have here? 2. We have, which is this 2? We have just 1 here. How do we make oxygen? 2 here. You cannot put 2 in this oxygen here. The reason is simple. If we also change the compound will become hydrogen peroxide. So, but this reaction is hydrogen reacting with oxygen to form water. So, how do we make this one 2? Oxygen 2, you put 2 at the back. These 2 multiply everything, so we now have 2 oxygen here. Now, you notice that these 2 times these 2, you now have 4 hydrogen here. 2 oxygen here, 2 oxygen here. This has been balanced. So, but here you have 2 hydrogen, you have 4 hydrogen here. How do you make this one? You just put your 2 here. As simple as that. So, it's a very simple thing. Remember, hydrogen is gaseous, oxygen is gas, and water is liquid. Okay. Now, the next is carbon combining with oxygen to form carbon dioxide. It's a combination reaction. These 2 compounds actually combine to form this. You can do others, such as sodium combining with what? Chlorine to form. Now, note that chlorine is 2 here, chlorine is 1 here. How do we do that? You put your 2 here, and here you put here, the equation is balanced. You have to count the number of atoms this side. The left-hand side must be equal to the number of atoms in the right-hand side. Now, number of atoms of chlorine is 2 here. This 2 is multiplying everything. So it means that we have 2 atoms of chlorine. Here we have 2 sodium here. You have 2 sodium here. So that means the equation is balanced. The second type of reaction is decomposition reaction. Right? Decomposition reaction is like the inverse of combination reaction. In combination reaction, they are coming together to form one. While in decomposition reaction, you have an element AB being broken down into an element A and element B. We'll just use the exact inverse of what happened in this place. Water. This is electricity. Okay, right? Water under certain conditions can be broken down into hydrogen and oxygen. And the condition is this stated there, which if you pass electricity through it, definitely electricity will make it to gain energy and the compound will now be broken down into what? Its component. So, note the fact that there are always conditions in chemical reactions. Some will tell you that if you heat it, some you add catalyst, so other various conditions. So, in this case, if electricity is passed through this water and it gains enough energy, what will now happen? To break down into the component element, which is hydrogen and oxygen. Now note, is the equation balanced? No, we have just 1 oxygen here. We have 2 oxygen here. So how do we make this 2 oxygen? Put 2 at the back. So we now have 2 oxygen here, 2 oxygen here. But we have 2 hydrogen here. We have 4 hydrogen here, so you also have to put 2 at the back. We have other kind of decomposition. We have can be broken down into Very straightforward reaction. You can also have, now notice, the number of elements here, or atoms here, sorry, this is 2. Here we have two hydrogen, carbon is 1 here, carbon is 1 here, oxygen is 3 here. I have 1 oxygen plus 2, which is 3. So it's a very simple reaction. We can also decide to this is hydrogen peroxide and can be broken down into so in this case, remember, this is not water. This is hydrogen peroxide. So it can be broken down into the component element through what? Giving hydrogen and oxygen. So please take note that these are examples of a very simple chemical reaction. We have explained combination reaction and decomposition reaction. Let's talk about combustion reaction, which we have on the board. Let's talk about combustion reaction. Now let's take a look at number 3, combustion reaction. Combustion reaction involves oxygen actually reacting with compound to form carbon dioxide and water, and you can always balance the reaction. So if you look at the case, the reaction is already balanced. So you have 4 hydrogen, carbon 1, carbon here, hydrogen, oxygen here is 4. I have 2 oxygen here. These 2 multiply everything, so we have 2 oxygen here, so 4. Note that I'll treat balancing of chemical reaction in a separate video so that you understand it better. Let's just take a look at the chemical reaction. So the same thing applies to this place. You can also decide to react, oxygen can react with ethane, and you have carbon dioxide and water. So you can balance the chemical reaction. I'll put my 2 here, 7 here, so let's quickly count if it's correct. We have 4 carbon here, we have 4 carbon here, we have 2 times 6, we have 12 hydrogen here. 2 times 6 is 12. We also have 12 hydrogen here. Oxygen is actually 14. 7 times 2 is 14. So if you use these 2 oxygen to multiply 4 here, you have 8 oxygen here, and you have 6 oxygen here. That's 14. So the reaction is balanced. And the third reaction is being displayed on the board, where methanol reacts with oxygen, a combustion reaction, and the product is also carbon dioxide and water. Neutralization reaction is a very simple process also. Neutralization reaction is a reaction between acid and base to form salt and water. Note, their product is constant. Acid and base react. That's neutralization reaction. The product are actually salt and water. Hydrochloric acid, for example, you can just put your aqueous here. Aqueous means hydrochloric acid is mixed with water, so it's a solution, all right? Sodium hydroxide. Okay, so you have, this is salt and this is water. So it's a very simple process. We also have the tetrahydrosis of a 6 acid reacting with potassium hydroxide. The product is potassium tetrahydrosis of a 6 acid, salt, and water. So it's a very simple reaction. This is a very basic explanation for some types of chemical reaction. When I'm explaining balancing of chemical reaction, I will teach you step-by-step method on how to balance chemical reaction. In my next video on types of chemical reaction, I will explain the other 6 types of chemical reaction. Thank you for watching.